Well, good afternoon. I just got back from my trip through the mountains. The rain held off today, and I got to take the CBX on the same route that I took the Versys X on a few days ago. I wanted to check the gas mileage and overall performance in the twisties in the mountains, and it was a 182 mile ride today, and I averaged 78.2 miles to the gallon compared to 62 miles to the gallon on the Versys, and I used 2.85 gallons on the Versys, and I used 2.3 gallons on this. 16 miles to a gallon better on the 500cc, going over the same route, climbing the mountains in the twisties. And the onboard computer on this was off by 1/10 of a gallon. It said that I had used 2.2 gallons on the computer, and I used 2.3. That's about as close as you're ever going to get on one of these electronic distance computers. It was off by 3.2 miles to the gallon on the computer here. It said I got 81 and I got 78, so that's as close as you're going to get anyway. But it goes to show me that the gallons used numbers on this is the most accurate thing to be gauging how much gas you have left in your tank. Okay, got it home, got it cleaned up. It handled the same in the mountains on the twisties as the Versys did. It had more power. You'll see on the video, which is coming up in a minute, that I'm climbing a lot of that mountain in high gear. So you can't beat that. I was down into first and second gear on the Versys coming out of some of the really tight twisties. I got down into third gear. I may have hit second once, but third and fourth gear, mostly fourth gear a lot coming out of the tight twisties. Third once in a while. So it has a lot more power, gets a lot better gas mileage, handles the same in the corners. It's they flick back and forth very easily. They're lightweight bikes. No real difference to compare between the two in the twisties. Mountain climbing power, of course, the 500's got a lot more power. And which is surprisingly, it also gets a lot better gas mileage. So usually the bigger engine, the worse gas mileage you get. You move up to a 650, KLR 650, 50 miles to the gallon. Suzuki V-Strom 650, 50 miles to the gallon. And then you get 62 with a 300. But I get better than everything with this 500. So I found my favorite bike. It's the cheapest one to ride. It's also the most comfortable one to ride. And it has the most power between the two. So the Versys will be going up for sale in a very short period of time. Maybe a week or two. I've got to get the title back for it from the bank, and then I'm going to put it on the market. I'm going to keep the better riding and better gas mileage bike. And so that's the name of that tune. Okay, next up you get to see me riding through the mountains in the twisties on this. And I've also got a real nice tour of the old church in San Lorenzo, New Mexico. And I met a nice guy up there who told me about the shrine next door to the church that his grandmother built. And so I toured that, and then I toured his grandmother's old adobe brick house while I was there, what's left of it. And so there's a lot of nice things to watch on the upcoming video. So we'll see you at the end. Take care. This is the old historic district of Pinos Altos, New Mexico. This is the old Buckhorn Saloon. Settled in 1803. This was established in the late 1860s, the Pinos Altos Opera House. This is the old Norton store, circa 1860s. It was a post office and a general store. This is a gold mining district. It was a ghost town, which, like most ghost towns out west, have been refurbished by people moving in and buying up all the old properties. No, it may not be open. May have to call somebody to open it. This is an old fort on the corner. Fort Cobre, 1804 to 1852. That looks like a pretty old church and a cemetery off to the side of it. There's a classic convertible for sale. Runs great, needs battery. Pinos Altos, once the seat of Grant County, Pinos Altos survived conflicts with the Apache A gold discovery in 1860 by three 49ers from California stimulated a boom that led to the establishment of this mining camp, which produced over $8 million of gold, silver, copper, lead, and zinc before the mines played out in the 20th century. Continental Divide, 7,080 feet. LORENZO, New Mexico. I like to eat lunch at this old church. This mission was established in 1883 by Father Juan Grange. A chapel and small house were built not far from the river. Wow, it's warm in this room. Those candles really warm it up. It's time for lunch. Well, I just finished having lunch outside this old church here in San Lorenzo, New Mexico. And I just met an interesting man. He just drove by, told me that his great-grandmother built a shrine over here and that it's open to the public out in back of this church. He doesn't know if she built it before or after this church was built in the late 1800s, but it's been here a long time. She used to live in a house just on the other side of this church, and now Mr. Rod Ortiz is the gentleman that owns this property here, and he lives in this travel trailer over there where his great-grandmother's house used to be. And we'll go over to this shrine. Very, very old, probably built in the mid to late 1800s. If you're a little short on cash, somebody leaves money laying around here, people bring in their patron saints and leave all sorts of trinkets here, he said. There is a very old, looks like a cigarette lighter. Yes, it is. Still sparks. Looks like it's been hand engraved. Possibly initials. Neat use of an old tree trunk. You have your kneeling bench. And that's his great-grandmother's shrine. Thank you, Rod Ortiz. His great-grandmother, as I said, had a house up where his travel trailer is. And his grandmother has a house down here. Old adobe with A little bit left of the metal roof, but not too much. But there's the old adobe house that his grandmother built. Grandfather. The adobe is still mostly standing. At one point, they added on a block extension to the house. Not much of it left. There is some cupboards mounted on the wall in there. Rod said that he has lived in California all of his life. He was an HVAC technician. But his dream was always to retire out here where his grandparents lived. And so now he's here. Don't imagine these old doors still open. Well, maybe they do. Huh. Don't see any rattlesnakes. Very small homes back then. I imagine this was a cistern for catching fresh water for all their water needs. Well, that concludes our tour of San Lorenzo, New Mexico. It's time to head back to Deming now, gas up my bike and see what kind of gas mileage it got on this little adventure. So we'll catch you on the other end.